Welcome everyone and good afternoon. I hope your lunch wasn't too heavy and you get awake with this talk. Like the video said, deep fakes, fake news and social media has been in the news for a decade or so. In the recent past, it's become a very emotional, angstful idea. Taylor Swift, Rashmika Mandana, Sachin Tendulkar, the US elections, the Indian elections. These are depleting the fabric of our society. It's not the question of how much fake is there, but how bad it is. Israeli historian Yuval Noah Harari has called this information warfare, and its ethical implications are devastating, personally and as a society. In fact, the Economic Forum says that AI-generated misinformation and disinformation comprises 53%, second only to extreme weather. So let's start this discussion. Welcome panelists. Thank you for joining us. I think we should start it with the social implications. And why don't you, Sapthami, tell us a little bit about what you've observed and if there are any experiences you'd like to share.
Yelrigu namaskara. And ಎಲ್ರೂ ಊಟ ಮಾಡಿ ನಿದ್ದೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಡಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ನಾವು ಮಾತಾಡೋದನ್ನ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಯು ಸೆಡ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಬಿಕಮ್ ಸಚ್ ಅ ಸೋಷಿಯಲ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಟುಡೇ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ವಿ ಆಸ್ ಸೆಲೆಬ್ರಿಟೀಸ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಈಸಿಲಿ ಅವೈಲಬಲ್ ಟು ಎವ್ರಿಬಡಿ and then it is a choice also that you know that we put out our lives out there even though we have a very professional life and a personal life, the line between the two is very thin for us. There are times that you know they cross over. Our professional lives, our personal lives do cross over, and everybody thinks that you know they have a say in our personal lives more than our professional lives.
Yes.
For example, I don't know, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಬಿಗ್ ಬಾಸ್ ನೋಡ್ತೀರಾ ಅಂತ, but I feel Big Boss is such a huge hit on such a huge platform today because everybody gets to say what this person or that person is doing on their personal lives. Everybody is interested as to judge a person. We easily judge a person today, and our pictures, our videos, be it with consent or without consent, is there on social media today. And for them to pick up something and use it for their own likes, gains, comments is such a sad thing because they don't understand that we also, irrespective of us being in front of people or you know talking to you know people on a daily basis or you know having communication with them, back home we also have a family. And we've also been brought up with the same values that everybody has. No parent will teach the kid, go cheat in an exam, do this, be a you know thief. Nobody says that, no parent says that. So when something like that of a child is seen by a parent, today I'm sure, even parents have Facebook, they have everything today, they're all on social media. So imagine they sleep, they wake up and they see the child, their own child's video or picture being, you know, used like this. It is heartbreaking, and for us to take it, you know, like when you're 25, you're just above, you know, 25, you're trying to build your career, not only, of course, you know, there are ways that you can get the video down, you go to the cyber crime, you do all that. But at the end of the day, when you go back, you know, to sleep, nothing of that matters except what it's done to you mentally, emotionally, and psychologically. Because you can't go back to sleep. See, I can give an explanation today to my parents saying, "Id nanalla, id nan madilla, ee video nandalla." But I cannot give the same explanation to the other 10,000 or the, you know, 1 lakh. And India is such a populated country today, they have their own opinions. I can't go telling each and every person, please change your opinion about me. And I don't think I should do it too, but it's also the responsibility of the person. I think it's just that we need to be a little empathetic. The word is empathetic, be empathetic. Would you be okay if something of yours came that way? Would you be okay if somebody commented on your picture or video that way?
So have you heard of anybody who's had some kind of an experience
like
this?
recently, I was just going through social media. In social media only, I came across that Noora Fatehi. She made an entire deepfake advertisement using a very popular brand to show how easy it is to trick people into just clicking on that. Lululemon is a big, very, very big brand in the Europe, and she made a website saying Lululemon, and the entire website was made on deepfake. Her entire, the advertisement, the pictures used on the website and everything. And they had so much traffic on the website and people clicking on the website. And these are all clickbaits, So it is so easy to have anybody believe anything. Like before they used to say, like WhatsApp forwards you used to get, oh, this is happening in India, that is happening in India, and your parents send it on family groups and you say, Appa, yo, it's fake, sumne iri. But how are you going to keep explaining that on a daily basis?
So what of the emotional and social ramifications of something like this?
It is so sad because it is something that will stay with the person who's gone through this at the end of the day. Whatever said and done, you can go tell that person, I know this is not you. I know this is not you in the video. It is a deep fake video. Whatever said and done, until and unless that person accepts and says, okay, this is okay, it's never going to leave them. It is very psychologically affecting. You can't just wake up one day and see yourself in a position that you're not there. And most of these videos are being used in a way that is only monetizing or helping the other party, and totally, it's just the image of the person or the, that they're using, that person's morality is completely being destroyed. And that's not right. You can't do that. You have no right to use another person's image or video to make yourself rich or to make yourself, seem like you have the power just to put that person down. That is very sad on a very humane level. We have robots doing, restaurants, at the restaurants, we have robotic, we have surgeries being done, everything. But at the end of the day, why we as humans, we have the quality that probably the robots don't have, and that is empathy. We know how to show empathy. We probably can say, okay, I know you're feeling bad. A robot is not going to say that. It does not matter if you're dead, you're alive, you're feeling bad, sad, nothing matters to a robot. So that human touch should not be lost. We humans should remain humans. We shouldn't become robots as such.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Would any of the panelists like to add something to what Sapthami said?
Well, Suruchi, I think that what Sapthami said is completely right. But we live in a different world today. And I think that in the last 10 years, as you mentioned, it's been going on for 10 years, we've all been exposed to so much of deep fakery. And I mean, do you even look at anything without taking it with a pinch of salt? I suspect everything that I see on Instagram or Facebook or wherever. I don't believe anything anymore. I look at Modi's speech and I say, this also must be fake. Because, everything is fake these days. It's just so difficult to understand what is happening. And then besides that, we also live in a world where a Paris Hilton and a Britney Spears released their own fakes. Because they wanted the publicity and they felt that a sex tape featuring them would catapult them to the top of the pops, really. And when people themselves are doing it, I mean, I remember Rashmika said, couldn't they find someone with a better figure? Who is this woman? I don't look like that. So I don't know whether we are becoming more and more suspicious as a people. And I think it's a very good thing. I think it's very good to suspect everything that you see. Because like again Sapthami said, you can't go and tell 1 million people that, this is wrong. So how do you counteract it? Well, issue a denial immediately. Don't wait. Don't be scared. Because I think that in many ways, I find a lot of people are very scared of artificial intelligence and what it can do. But I think that we all need to be in a position of control. We have to control AI. AI cannot control us. And AI, at the end of the day, will have its uses. I expect AI to find a cure for cancer, to find a cure for AIDS. I mean, why not? It could happen, Doctor. I'm sure that you know that AI can crunch numbers like no human being can. But can AI have the emotional intelligence of human beings? Because AI is based on everything that has gone before. It's collective history. It is the sum of all human knowledge. But what about the new, the fresh, which only I think mankind can do? And of course, the best thing is having babies. AI can never do that. That I think they will not interfere with.
Yes.
That's my opinion,
That's
Suruchi.
true. Thanks, Prasad. Nandini, would you like to kind of speak about any of the experiences that you've had with deepfakes? Being a celebrity, it is difficult. You keep posting things to get like a fan base, to increase your tribe. But it also exposes you to such kind of, malware.
Elrigu Namaskara. I studied in MLACWO, Ammani College, and this is the first time I'm being inside the campus, and you people are having really very good campus. It's nice to sit in front of such serious people. Yeah, coming to your question, Suruchi, I have not experienced that kind of things anytime in my lifetime. I do not want to even imagine that kind of things in my wildest dreams, because that kind of things are really such bad. When it comes to Rashmika Mandana's ma'ams and it became a national news, and when it happens to the Taylor Swift, it became an international news, and even we all know Sachin Tendulkar sir's image being misused for a video game. So I think it's there from many years now, using actresses' images to the wrong window and leaving it to the internet is been happening from many years. And being an actor, I'm sitting here as a girl first, then an artist, so it shouldn't happen to any girl if it comes to privacy, respect. Every girl in the nation deserves to have that respect of their privacy. I can't help, because being connected to the people, audience is part of my profession. Being active in the social media became part of my profession, and I really can't avoid that.
So how would you explain, I don't know, the emotional angst that, a person might go through, that goes through something like this?
It definitely tear them inside, because, any girl will not even imagine to see herself in such kind of videos. Yeah. So definitely it will break them inside, and it feels really very bad for them.
Thank you. Thanks, Nandini. Prasad, what would you say? You've been in the industry, you've seen celebrities, you've seen models, you've seen a world where there were photographs, and now there's like, a smart era where things have changed so drastically. So, according to you, how does a celebrity protect? How does a normal person protect? How do you deal with something that could land up to be, debilitating to you?
Well, you see, the thing is that everything has such a short shelf life now. Yeah. And sometimes it's better to just wait it out, because in 5 minutes, the next scandal will break. And everyone will forget about yesterday's scandal. Everything moves so quickly. So sometimes I think it's better not to take it too seriously. I mean, you girls might one day find yourself at the receiving end of some, random video showing you doing something that you've never done. But besides issuing a denial, going to the police, making the complaint, what can you do? You can't run a cyber cell in your house, like the last speaker spoke so wonderfully about the whole aspect of the dark web. You can't monitor the dark web. We have to move on with our lives at some point in time. And I think the best thing to do is really to ignore it as much as possible. You do what you can and you move on. I mean, when I look at the British royal family and the amount of scandals that have been associated with them, quite frankly, I can't remember anything. Maybe one or two things about Princess Diana, but even that I'll have difficulty in remembering. So sometimes it's very good to have a short attention span and forget about everything that is negative and everything that's awful and just move on. What can you do really, Suruchi? There is really, I think Dr. Sharma or, Karthik may be able to answer that better, but there's precious little you can do.
Would you like to add to Dr. Sharma?
I think
Prasad said.
Basically because deepfake has become an issue in recent years also. And I think the first thing comes why deepfake is there in our lifestyle. I think as the previous speaker also said somewhere that anonymity comes up into the cyberspace. Anonymity gives a lot of freedom to the other person to create and to circulate. Then what happens once you create and circulate, then it goes to the users. Then comes another phenomena which we call FOMOs, fear of missing out something. That is, fear of missing out something is for the youngsters also to remain active on social media chats, and they remain active till night also, so that they should not miss out any exciting information. But once that excitement comes, that excitement leads to circulation of the information, where they could have judiciously used their decision making to whether this is the right information to forward or whether this is not the right information to forward. And that circulation leads to massive circulation, and which creates impact on the particular person for which this information is intended, as well as for other things also. And then what does this anonymity and FOMOs create? I think that's in psychiatry and psychology we call regression. Regression means you move to the previous primitive stages. And the internet also promote regression only, because sometimes you engage in behavior which is not desirable, which is not expected of you. And where deepfake is one of them, where people feel that anonymously and somewhere they can just circulate. And that's why somewhere, as Sapri said, moral development also comes up, because the moral development is getting affected, because children get access to the devices very young in their lifestyle. And they know, even though they send any wrong message, rather than saying verbally sorry, they just delete the message. And they say, once I delete the message, my job is over. I don't have to say any. So this is so it means the whole public, whole society, all stakeholder has to take a responsible role in case if we have to target this kind of development. But I think as any person who get affected by deepfake, automatically it leads to 3 stages of reaction. One is shock, that how does this happening? Then person always remain in a denial mode. They will also engage in repeated checking whether that is the real information, whether that is happening or not. And the denial further leads to anger and depression and low mood states and other things. And there I think the needs comes. Then the person is in the stage where he or she doesn't want to communicate. Because I think as you see, most of the celebrities, they have taken an approach of communication. If you communicate, you build up support, and then you work out the strategies. I think that's remain the milestones if you have to work on the impact of psychological issues related to deepfake. And as rightly said, that we have to move ahead. Somewhere we have to acknowledge, communicate, and move ahead in our lifestyle.
So, Doctor, one thing that will shock everyone is that the most deepfakes are pornographic in nature, and most of them are mapped from celebrity actresses and, famous people. Now, what is the psychological aspect for the person that it's mapped, and why is it so rampant?
Basically, because I think the deepfake, the underlying, the motive is to create a content which get maximum circulation, which get maximum forwards. And I think with this content, I think most of the preferred choices are in the sexting content, and most of the time it is in the pornography content. And that's why they feel if this content is there, it will get most circulation. And that's why this kind of contents are preferred content. And definitely if this kind of contents are imposed on anybody, it creates a lot of psychological distress. Basic thing though we are saying acknowledgement, acceptance, but the acceptance doesn't come so easily, because they are in the shock state, they are in a stage of denial, and sometimes whether this denial leads to stress-related issues, whether this denial leads to other kind of psychological problem, it depends upon the individual resilience, individual protective coping mechanism, and other support systems and all.
So I would like to ask you, from an Indian perspective, the US and UK recently set protocols on social media because of the fake news, because of, deep fakes. They've basically made all schools follow some social media usage things. So what would you say, why is India lacking in this? So what would you say?
I think the overall government is also taking initiative in these aspects. I think a lot of policy decisions have come up at public level as well as policy level to raise public awareness for healthy and promotive use of social medias and all. But I think it is all stakeholder has to take a responsible role to maintain their dignity as well as to create action so that other people's dignities also remain intact. I think that becomes a public health concern and all public stakeholder has to work for it. And I think recently even Karnataka government has taken a call that they may plan to have a digital detox center in Karnataka, and so that basic thing is to promote the healthy use of social media as well as other technology platforms also. And then that, if that happens, Karnataka will become the first state in India to plan this kind of initiative.
Thank you, Doctor. So what is healthy usage? What's the percentage?
I don't think there's a lot, because, you know, they say learning starts at the root level.
Yeah.
We have parents, when we were kids, ಊಟ ಮಾಡಿಸ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ it used to be ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಚಂದ ಮಾಮ ತೋರಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಊಟ ಮಾಡಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. ಇವಾಗ ಕರಿಮಣಿ ಮಾಲಿಕ, you know, you'll yes. everybody. There's a 3-year-old, 4-year-old kid who comes and he says, Rahul, you know, that's happening. That imagine a 4-year-old kid comes up and says that to you. And then we used to have, we had rhymes. When we used to, you know, our mums used to the rhymes. They used to teach us rhymes, and, you know, that used to be that. Now, everything is so much, you know, it's all on YouTube. A kid who's 3 years old knows how to operate the remote. And, you know, that has become such a moment of pride. My kid knows how to use YouTube. My kid knows how to operate the remote. Please don't be proud of it. It's not going to help your kid in any which way in the future. You know, it has to start in the very root level. Go back, make your kid sit on the compound, show the kid that, you know, the moon is at this stage.
How to climb trees.
Yeah, and it really has, you know, and because that also has to come with the factor that it's such a fast-moving life. Both the parents are working. They need to feed the kid. If they don't feed the kid's going to fall sick. How are you going to feed the kid? Get the kid, you know, make it sit in front of a screen time, feed the kid. I think it also has to do a lot of, you know, like probably conscious decisions when it comes to parents. Because for now, all the, you know, the reels or anything that you see on Instagram are probably very, very old songs that are coming back. Why weren't the songs viral back then and they're coming back now? You know, because it's accessible to whatever you call the Gen Z, all the people, and, you know, you want to stay very, very in term now. I'm a millennial. I want to become a Gen Z. I don't want to remain a millennial. So yes. I will try to learn what the Gen Zs are doing. I want to impress the crowd, right? So that, you know, that feeling of trying to impress somebody by being fake and trying to portray yourself on social media should happen from probably, you know, like the homes, you know, probably check your, you know, your kids, how much screen time they're using, what is it, and yes. If that is done on because the government is going to come up with policies, but they're not going to come to every house and check how long the kid is going to use the device. The government can't send every, you know, one government official in one house check what the kid is doing. That cannot be done. It has to come from a very young, you know, root level.
Thanks, Sapthami. Now to Karthik, the man with all the answers. So I think months ago there was a robocall using a fake audio of US President Biden urging Democrats not to go for the New Hampshire primary. Now, Indians are around the corner with the elections. How do we solve this as a society? The fake news, the fake deepfakes, the garble that's there.
So, Sapthami used the word empathy. You know, she said, be empathetic. Let me also add to it and say, be skeptical. So, whatever content you see online, be skeptical about it. Just think whether the source from which it is coming can be trusted. If something is outrageous, it probably is not true. So it's better to be skeptical, treat whatever content we see with a bit of skepticism, and trust something only when we are sure we have verified that, you know, it is worthy of our trust. I mean, this is not a new phenomenon, right? We have all been in WhatsApp groups where we have, family, friends who keep sending, false information. What AI and deepfake is going to do is, it's going to make it more realistic. That it is going to make the false information more realistic. It's going to make the fake news more realistic. So the level of skepticism, if anything, has to increase.
Okay. So in terms of what the center is doing, are there any things that you can throw light to the audience with?
So this is an area where the whole world is grappling with it, right? So there are no easy answers, there are no set answers as of now. If you have seen the movie Oppenheimer, you have seen a bunch of scientists who are grappling with this new discovery, the new invention they have come up with, right? So they have discovered fission and fusion, and then they know that this can be used to create a bomb, which can be very powerful, which can be used to stop the war, which was going on at that point in time, but which can also be, which also has the potential to end humanity, right? And that's the question the scientists then were, wondering, what approach we should take. If you see, with AI, we are in a similar kind of situation. So AI is the cyber equivalent of the nuclear bomb, I would say. The key difference is then in the 1939, 1940, early 40s, it was a bunch of scientists who were grappling with this question. Today, it's a bunch of technologists in the private sector whose primary motive is profit, right? But who are trying to also give answers to this question, right? So how much we should trust them, I'm not too sure. But, well, if you see last week at the Munich security conference, all the big AI players made a pledge that they will do their AI deployment. They will develop their AI solutions in a responsible manner. But I think it's also important for governments to take this seriously. I think regulation is very important. It's early days yet. After the Rashmika Mandana video came out, immediately Government of India issued a notification to all the social media platforms that if any user complains that there is a deep fake of them on any social media platform, they have to take it down within I think 48 hours. So that guideline was issued immediately, and the Ministry of Information Technology has mentioned that they are working on coming up with more detailed regulations for tackling deepfakes. It's work in progress as of now.
So I know it's work in progress, and I know countries all over are grappling with it, and individuals all over the world are grappling with it. However, you can be ethical, you can get the policies, but if you don't have the tools and you don't have any way to bring them all together, it's not sustainable. And the trajectory of deep fakes and fake news, I think, is going to carry on. It's not going to stop.
So, what technology taketh, technology giveth, right? So, while deepfakes are being generated, there are researchers who are working on identification of deepfakes as well, right? So, I think it's a matter of time. We will get solutions, which will help us identify deepfakes as well. But the overarching point still remains that technology is evolving so rapidly that today it's deepfakes, tomorrow it could be something else, right? And we are living in an era where every new technological advance, all of these are dual-use technologies, right? So it can be used for good purposes, it can be used for bad purposes. So every new technology can be misused. And it's a cat and mouse game, so you need to keep finding out ways and use the same technology to prevent the misuse.
So what would you say are certain things that we can keep in mind as individuals when, forwarding, when looking at mails, when receiving something from somebody else?
Again, first point is, be skeptical. Be skeptical about, whatever you are receiving. Yeah. At the same time, it's also important that we all keep pace with the changes in technology, right? We should know what's the latest in technology that is being used. It may not be what's been worked on by the researchers, but at least what is in the mainstream, right? It's important we know what's happening in the technology domain and what are the ways in which it is being used, it is being misused. I think it's important we are aware of it on a regular basis.
Also, I would like to say that Karnataka and India have cybercrime helplines. They have a cyber bureau, crime bureau. However, the law is unclear. We are piggybanking on many other laws. So what would you, how do we get to a policy at least where we protect ourselves, like actresses, like Prasad can protect him and his wards, and all of us, Narendra Modi can protect him.
Yeah, so regulations will always play catch up, right? So it's a matter of time before we start getting regulations around this also. But as of today, it's not really the lack of laws, it's more of the ability to implement the laws that we have today, right? So for example, we spoke of cybercrime, and morning there was a very good panel discussion on tackling cyber crimes. Again, it's not the lack of laws which is impeding us when it comes to tackling cyber crimes. It's more of our ability to look at the new world, the new world where crimes can happen remotely. Crimes are happening using these communication technologies. And what do we do to address this new kind of crimes? Within the existing laws also, it can be addressed.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Dr. Sharma, would you like to add on any tips, not to follow media, not to be an Instagram person and just continue to be online all the time?
I think you can ask the audience how many of them are addicted to social media.
Yeah.
So then we can answer a very specific question from Dr. Sharma.
So how many of you are at least spend 2 hours on social media?
And now your phone tells you how much of time you've spent on social media. So sometimes you can get a shock when you see that figure in the evening. So
doctor, just a last
So how
word
much
on,
is healthy?
Yeah.
So I think it's a very difficult question that how much is too much, but I think that we have to decide depending upon our needs and how best we can balance. But whatever the work we are doing, we are finding even in Bangalore region, people are using minimum 10 hours a day in mobile phone. So I think if you're using for 10 hours, but I think basic criteria, if you have to identify whether you are addicted to social media, this is called 5C approach. The first C stands for craving. Answer can be yes or no, you can judge yourself now itself. If there is a craving for using technology or social media, if answer is yes, that's the first yes toward addiction. Second is control. Are you losing your control over social media use? If that is there, that's a second yes toward addiction. Third is coping. Are you using social media as a method of coping to feel good or to overcome negative mood states? If that is there, that's a third yes toward addiction. Fourth is compulsion. Has it become a compulsive user? Have you become a compulsive user? Compulsive user, when we say, sometimes social media also leads to social media fatigue because you are always on social media. And another phenomenon through social media comes, what we call, all of us suffer, is called scrolling syndrome. We keep scrolling our mobile phone and that takes away a lot of our time. If that is there, that's a fourth yes toward in your lifestyle. And the fifth is consequences. Because of social media, are you developing XYZ consequences? So out of 5C, if you have 4 in your lifestyle, today is the time to take a call and to work on a healthy use of social media. And the best strategy goes what we call digital fasting. Digital fasting is have some time without technology. Have 40 minutes, 60 minutes in your day-to-day time without technology, without social media, and use that time to build up communication, use that time to build up social relationships, use that time for other quality-based activities. If that happens, definitely your family will appreciate, you will also develop contact, and you will have more social capital rather than social media contacts. And that is where we are lacking in. Thank you.
Doctor, one more thing. For those of us who use social media for 8 hours and above, and all the ones that put their hands up, what are the effects, the very, very serious effects of it?
Basically, social media takes away what we say, social contacts, social relationships, and what it promotes is, more not promote, I would not say generalize, it promote everybody, but in some of the cases it promote social isolation. Because you are always connected, but you are not losing out your social contact. So that's the first thing we are losing. Second thing, because of social media, most of us have a rationalization that in the night time I can use social media because sleep is mine. I can delay my sleep. But we have seen if you are using social media during sleeping time, 60 to 90 minutes loss of sleep will definitely happen. So if you are carrying that 60 to 90 minutes sleep deficit, it will affect next day productivity also. Third thing which comes up, because of constant preoccupation, though brain has capability of doing multiple tasking, but I think if you are active on social media along with your focus task also, definitely your productivity will go down. And fourth thing which we are losing out is physical activities. Nowadays we recommend even adults should spend 60 to 90 minutes physical activity every day. But we sacrifice that physical activities for social media or technology use. If all those things get addressed, definitely you will have a healthy use of social media and you will not come across social media fatigue, which sometimes most of us do suffer from. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Now I'd like to open for the next 5 to 8 minutes. Any observations, suggestions, questions?
I actually had a question for Dr. Sharma. The younger generation are exposed to so much of, information and visual content and all kinds of content. Will their brains be wired differently from ours? I mean, I grew up being addicted to Radio Ceylon. That's all we had in our house was a radio. And if I was studying for exams and my parents had gone out, I'd be listening to the radio and waiting for the car to come back. Yeah. The minute I heard the car, I'd go and switch off the radio. So was that an addiction for me? And this is multiplied by 100 times now. So would you say that the young people over here have differently wired brains?
I think this is a Z generation. Generally people say where youngsters have, it's like they're more active. They can assimilate a lot of information. They can use that information for various productive purposes also. So that way, this is an asset. But I think somewhere when technology use start bringing dysfunctions in their lifestyle, then it becomes a concern for us. And that's why the overall concept goes for balanced use of technology, healthy use of technology. And overall, even I think there are a lot of guidelines have come for youngsters and adolescents. But people are not saying instead of having guidelines, we should promote digital well-being in each one of us and we should take a conscious call so that we can use our assets for productivity rather than for dysfunction.
That's very true. And my advice to you all is make sure your bedtime is set in stone. If you're going to sleep at 11 o'clock, make sure you're in bed by 11 o'clock. Because if you keep extending that time and one day sleep at 12 and one day sleep at 1, you are not going to be fresh and wonderful the next day. You'll get very little done.
And 2 hours before you sleep, no technology.
2 hours, I don't know. Maybe half an hour.
So but definitely minimum half an hour before sleeping time, no technology use.
Yeah, half an hour I think is good.
I recently came across an interesting analogy between sugar and content now. We humans, historically, we have always where to crave for sugar because calorie was always difficult, right? I mean, historically we were never sure will we get our food tomorrow. So whenever we get a high calorie food, we tend to consume it because we need that calorie probably tomorrow. We need to consume and store it. But in the last 40, 50 years, calories have become very easy for us to consume. And that has resulted in overconsumption of calories and then diabetes and all the health-related issues. In the last 20 years, we are seeing the equivalent of it in terms of content. Right? Again, historically, we have always lacked easy access to content, right? When we were kids, if we want to get access to a content, we had to go to a library, hope that the library had some good books, if not go to another library, etc., right? Today, we have all the contents that we need on our fingertips. And that overdose of content is also harming us to a good extent. So, like how we watch our calories, what we eat, I think it's also important, we watch how much content we consume.
Thank you, Karthik.
And I want to say that I really got shocked when you people said, you use 8 hours of social media. I know it's quite addictive because it's addictive for me also. I just want to tell you like what I do. I use it for half an hour in a day. I'll upload whatever I wanted and I'll uninstall it. That's what I do. Because it's so much addictive that all the time finger will go, hand will go to, to the phone and we feel like using it. So uninstall it and reinstall it. That's the only solution what I do.
Yeah. Thank you. Sapthami, I would like you to send a message to all the malware people who are doing all these ridiculously kind of devastating, hurting things by deepfakes. So a small, quick message.
Yeah, before that, like Doctor was saying, it leads to social isolation, right? So, I don't know how many, I'm pretty sure a lot of them would have, you would have DM'd somebody, some girl, some guy and said, hey, you look pretty, you look beautiful, you look nice, right? But the minute the girl appears in front of them, they don't know what to say. They're like, I
totally agree.
I've never seen this woman in my life. But on social media, they've stalked her. They know who her father, brother, sister, mother, everybody is.
Like a WhatsApp relationship.
They know everything. Yeah. But as soon as they're in front of them, they're like, I don't know the existence of this person. So they've made them into covers, and at least before, I think, sir, where they used to write letters and they had to go give the letter to the woman, or the woman has to go give it to a man. Now it's all so easy. They'll send it and they'll think, this girl is not nice, this girl is nice, so I'll unsend the message and send the same message to this girl. It's so easy to do it now. So I mean, social isolation for sure. And like sir said, if you're going to go to bed at 11, then be on the bed at 11. But the problem is, for sure, we're all on the bed at 11, but we keep scrolling on the bed till 1 and 2. That's the problem that's come. So, probably like half an hour before, keep it aside.
Okay, 2 sentences
but,
message.
I just have to add to Sapthami's thing. Yeah. They say that if you keep your phone near you, especially when it's charging, it's really not good for you at all. So get into the habit of keeping the phone charging somewhere far away. Get into bed at 11 and switch off the lights. Otherwise, it's not going to work. If you take your phone to bed with you, it's the worst bed partner in the world, really.
2 sentences and then we'll take questions from the audience, only 3.
Yes. So I mean, like everybody, like I don't know who these culprits are who are doing these deepfake videos. Please stop them. It's not only harming the individual, it's harming the society on the whole. It's sending a wrong message to people, to the youth. And today, as a country, as India, we have the most number of youth. So, it's sending the wrong message to people out there saying that, it's easy, this is fun, you can do what you want and hamper with anybody's life. Don't do that. You have no right to hamper anybody else's life. You are only responsible for your own. So please do not engage just for your own monetary gains. Please do not do that. And I hope that the government comes up with, really rigid rules that, probably that leads to, if they can identify the person who's started this, it can, probably end up that the person ends up in jail. So probably it becomes very, very serious because it is a very, it affects the person in a very, very wrong way.
Thank you. Thank you. Now we'll take questions.
Yeah, perfect.
Thank you.
I think we had the first volunteer waiting for the question. Go ahead, buddy.
Hi. So, Ms. Ruchi, I actually have a question for you. So, as a representative of Times of India, I want to ask you, what role should the media play? We spoke so much about social media. What role should the media play to, be responsible and curb this sensation that deepfakes or fake news actually becomes? Because a lot of this information is also propagated through newspapers, clickbaited articles. So what is your take on that?
Okay, thank you. I didn't get your name.
I'm Uday. Uday.
Hi, Uday. I think that the media already plays a big role in terms of awareness. They have articles, they do campaigns. Deepfakes and AI is a recent development for the media per se. And that kind of awareness with the media is what I think you all will read and probably desist or don't click on things. And I would say that ethically, we all should be, good individuals. I don't think we should, have some kind of a malware towards anybody, be it celebrities or individuals. Apart from that, all media today do fact check. They have fact checkers so that, you don't put fake news out, you don't give too much importance to things that create a lot of titillation. So, yeah, that's what I would think.
Thanks, Suruchi. I want all the audience not to crosstalk. Please listen to the panel here, please. And we have the second question here.
Hi, Ashwani this side, Ashwani Pariwal. I think this was a great session, but one question I wanted to ask to the entire panel, more specific to the doctor, is we have been discussing social media addiction, as far as I remember, from 2018. I think that's when Instagram blew up. And there have been a lot of discussions, but never have I heard about a concrete solution or solutions that people have been able to accomplish and reduce their time. It's only increasing. Right? One of the only biggest tipping point I saw was banning of TikTok, which actually significantly reduced the time, but that was not due to in the benefit of people, but that was rather due to geopolitical reasons why that happened. So do you think something like that is only the solution to this? Because this is a problem that's these guys are hiring psychological engineers to create content that you keep on just scrolling throughout the day. So you are, in fact, Netflix CEO said, my biggest competitor is sleep. So that's what he said. So do you think that's the only solution, handling it at a compliance level and just banning these things?
Both of you can answer.
I think generally, because sometimes policy level comes up like to ban or to restrict the use, but that doesn't bring significant change, though it has a impact also. So the overall message goes is promotive and educative message to go to the public so that they can take their individual decision to work on control. As I'm saying, the work on control can be how to enhance, have a good sleep, how to have a social life, how to have a physical activities, and as well as how to have a productive schedule for yourself. So that's an individual decision, and that can come more through awareness, more through other stakeholders' involvement also, that everybody reinforce for the healthy use of technology.
Thank you, Doctor. Karthik?
I would probably differ from what Dr. Sharma said. I think it's time we bring in regulations. Here. If you see, China has taken the step where they have, mandated that gaming companies, ensure that kids don't play games for more than, I think, 3 or 4 hours in a week, right? So this is a regulation which they have already brought in.
Like a car accelerator, you can't press it further.
Yeah, so we need to get the balance between free choice that we give to our people versus protecting them from the harm that they are going to have. I think it's important we bring in the regulations. Otherwise, we probably are looking at a lost generation.
Thank you so much. Anybody else have anything?
I used to play a lot of PUBG back then. Okay. So when PUBG got banned, My mother celebrated so much. She said, yes, finally in the night I don't have to hear you say, shoot, 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 I don't have to hear you say that. So she was very happy with that. Now after that was banned, and then, you could still download, I didn't. And then after that, got busy with work and everything. Now I have not played the game again. So probably if, you get into a schedule where you don't have that much free time, where you can sit and waste time during, doing all of this. Yeah, but then again, like, Sir said that regulations are required, but it can't be very drastic, because we as a country, we say freedom of speech, freedom of right. We have that freedom. We can't take away that from people. So probably that also has to come, like it's a balance between what the government has to do and what the individual has to do. It has to come there.
I hope that answered your question. Any other questions? Thank you, everyone, and thank you, panelists. It was illuminating, I think. Yes? Yes. It was wonderful, and we'd like to thank everyone for coming and helping us, informing us, and do not be online and social media for more than half an hour. Thank you.